Hi guys, Kirk and Jay here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about Weld Crete. Why? Because I've done a couple videos way in the past. One was in 2011, and somebody commented about my use of Weld Crete. First of all, let me explain a little bit of background. Now, I've been in the trade since the late 70s. In early 80s, I was union, and everywhere where we used Weld Crete for color coats, we diluted a little bit. Now on the cans it says do not dilute, and that is because Weld Crete actually is engineered, say, for going over sealed surfaces, and you put about a ½ inch of stucco on that. It has a lot of other uses, guys, like concrete to concrete, and you always go full strength when you do that. Also, keep in mind, I'm going to show you a color coat. A color coat is 1/8 of an inch thick. Now, if you're doing 1/8 of an inch thick of a color coat, and you have, what I've done here, guys, is I got a piece of sheetrock, and then I got a piece of this Wonder board or the cementitious board. I'm not certain what kind it is. And I sealed it. I painted it. So I'm going to show you something that I tell folks about the color coats. When I use a Weld Crete, I'll dilute it a little bit. Sometimes I'll go half and half. Sometimes I'll go 2 parts water, or I'm sorry, 2 parts of Weld Crete to 1 part water, and I use my own judgment. Now guys, this is what I do. You guys, if you watch what I do, follow whatever it says on any can, any of these guys here. You follow that so you don't say, well, Kirk told me to do this or that. But I'm showing you what we've been doing for 35 years in the trade. Every contractor I work for, stucco contractors, I know about 15, they do something similar, if not exact. But again, I'll tell you the difference between these later, which means like this Quick Crete, they wrote the book on stucco materials. They sell every stucco material known to man. And this one here, the Sika products, these two you can use more of a slurry. This one is really not for what I'm intended, but people ask me about it. It's more for a slurry or an additive. Say you mix some stucco in it and you put this in it, it seals, and it makes it more of adhesive. Getting back on this one here, this one is great too. It's very similar to this. I choose the Weld Crete, and I have been using it for over 30 years. Why? Because you can put this on, and within an hour you can apply your cement or your stucco or your color coat, and you can put it on for about 10 days. It will adhere. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to start with a little bit of diluted stuff. Now, okay, we're going to do this bottom piece here. Now, this is over a sealed surface. Now, that's what I like to see. It's a light blue, guys. I'm putting it over the sealed surface. I'm putting it over this cementitious board. And I'm also going to do the piece of sheetrock here that I somewhat sealed with paint. Now, okay, there's that. That's a can I just opened and added some water just to prove a point, guys. Now this is a new can of Weld Crete, so it's a little darker blue. Now, there's something to remember, guys. Let me get some of this moisture out of here and mix this up a little here. Okay, and the more you mix it, it turns a deeper blue. There's something to keep in mind, guys. As far as applying a color coat to a painted surface, there's a reason why, if we put it too blue and the house is painted very well, why it'll spider check. It has nothing to do with Weld Crete. It has to do with what I'll get into in a second, which is, well, drying time. Say like, okay, this is heavier than this. Now, if you take a house that's been, say, 100 years old, it already has 20 coats of paint on, and some of those coats are extremely quality paints. Now, you put solid Weld Crete on it, and keep in mind, guys, what I'm referring to is a color coat, 1/8 of an inch thick, guys, 1/8 of an inch thick. Everything on that can is for 1/2 inch. They don't mention color coats on that can because I don't know why, they just don't. but this is well known in the plastering industry, what I'm about to show you. Okay, now this is heavy. This is heavy. This is diluted. These two are diluted. And again, this is sheetrock and this is just a cementitious board. I tell folks, this is what I do, and I've had a guy, we had a fella in Tiburon, he was a fireman, and he says, gee, Kirk, can I save some cash and do something? Average color coats are start around $5 grand, and that's to pressure wash a house, apply the bonding agent, and color coat it. The color coats adhere to these bonding agents. They won't adhere to a painted surface, and while I'm talking about adhering, nothing adheres to dust, rust, lime, fluorescence. None of these products here will stick to a dusty surface, guys, so it's got to be clean. Anyway, getting back to the fireman in Tiburon, I said, okay, man, get yourself a gallon of, get 2 gallons of this, throw a 1/3 gallon of water, and apply it to the house, and I'll give you the cost for what it would take us to do that. And I came to the house. It was dark blue. What does that mean? It looked like this can. And I looked at it, I thought, dude, what's that about? I told you 2 gallons and 1 gallon of Weld Crete. And he says, well, I want to make sure it adheres. And I said, man, you put it on so thick that if we would apply a 1/2 inch or 1 inch, it would adhere. But now you sealed it because you had a great painted surface and you put a sealer on it. So when I apply a color coat, again, it got nothing to do with any bonding agents. When I apply a color coat, it can't suck up to the wall. It's got to have some absorption. If it doesn't have the absorption, then it'll dry by the outside air. And when the outside air dries it, which will take a long time, it'll spider crack or spider check. So when we do the color coats, I tell people, let me do the bonding agent. And I also had it the other way too. I worked for a fellow for many years, and he said, Kirk, what can I do to help? And I thought, dang, there's that question again. I said, all right, man, you guys apply it. And I explained to him, and I got there. And I couldn't see it. I thought, I told you to apply the Weld Crete. And he says, we did. And I thought, man, I can't see it. Therefore, I've got to apply another coat because I can't risk it coming off and then you conveniently forgetting that I told you guys to apply it. Anyway, make a long story short, I don't allow, or when folks say, gee, what can I do to help? I say, stand back and watch us do it. That's all the help we need. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I got to let these set. When this one dries, it's going to be dark blue. These two are going to be dark blue, dark blue. This is what I actually want. And guys, I've rolled this stuff on. I've shot it on with airless. I've used brushes. A lot of ways to do it. We'll get into that. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these set. I figure an hour. It's a pretty hot day. The sun is, yesterday was 100 degrees. It's about noon. It's cloudy. So as soon as the sun comes up, it's going to dry this out. When we get to that next stage of, I'm going to put some color coat on it. And then we're going to do that exact same thing, guys, where we wait on it. While I'm got this in my head, let me tell you another story, guys. Not these products. There's about 50 products if you guys go to various parts of the country or various hardware stores where they say you can put this in the material. They are referring to if you mix a little slurry and you put the coat on the wall, you can do it that way. I've had many people say, well, Kirk, I'm going to put a gallon in my cement mixer and 8 100-pound bags, and I tell them all, it will fail. Within 6 months, it's going to come off your house in sheets. Have I seen that about 20 times? So don't put this in the material unless you're doing a slurry and you're going to just put a little patch and fix something. But on a whole house, on a color coat, 8 bags, it will dilute any of these products to nothing. Of course, you couldn't put blue in there. And I've actually had a few guys and they say, so you're right and the company's wrong. I said, well, no, the company's right if they say something, but the method you're talking about is not for a color coat. We are talking about a color coat on a house. Now, we do a lot of maintenance-free finishes. That means instead of painting the house, we pressure wash, put a bonding agent, and we apply a maintenance-free finish, 1/8 of an inch thick. And when I say maintenance-free, it lasts forever, doesn't come off. The colors start to fade in 30, 40 years. And that way it hides all bad finishes and things of that nature. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and let this set because I got a lot of other things we're doing. We'll come right back to this and apply this finish. Okay guys, we are at the stage. These are dry. It's been a good hour, if not longer. Okay, I put a little bit of color in this color coat just so you could possibly see it. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm using a material that is it's a La Habra product. All it is a color coat, guys, and it's base 20-30. It's not smooth and it's not heavy. So this is the medium base. Now, that's all I need to do right there. I want to point out, guys, if you're ever considering, I'm just going to put this right here because I can. This is over sheetrock, which has a lot of suction. This has a whole lot of suction. These won't spider check because it's designed for that. Again, all of these bonding agents, if you use them how they're according to what their description is, they will not fail. The reason we get spider checking is, again, because of the moisture being trapped. It can't suck in. If it can't suck in, it has to dry from the outside. Therefore, it'll spider crack. When we're done with this, Jay is going to take his handy dandy camera there and zoom in. Now, okay, I'm just going to do all of them as a sand finish. Why a sand finish? Because if I do a sand finish, it'll dry out a lot faster than, say, the trowel finish, because the sand is breathing. It's taking the outside air. I'll hit this just for the heck of it, and here. And I'll say this too. You see how fast that sucked up? Because this is over cementitious board. This is dry. Look at that. It's dry because the moisture is already sucked out on this board. If I was on a house, I'd hose it down and hydrate it and then have the two hydrate together. This one is still wet because it's on sheetrock. These are going to stay wet. This one's going to stay wet for quite a while because this is sealed. This is full strength, full strength. This is diluted. So we'll come back when the time comes and see what it looks like. Again, guys, I want to press that these materials, if you're doing a color coat, do not put them into a mixer. That's just my tip. You guys can do it, but it'll come off in sheets. I had it. I bid a house. It was on a river, and I thought, cool place to work. We can sit back. It was like $7,000. They called me and said, Kirk, we got another bid of $6,500. I said, hey, you were too far from me anyway. You were 2 hours from my house. I just bid it that low to be on the river. 6 months later, she called me back and says, peeling off in sheets. I said, well, either they put it over a dusty surface or they put the bonding agent in the mixer. You cannot do that. And she says, well, they did it, and they showed it to me, and it says you can. Well, that means something different, guys. It doesn't mean put a gallon of this or even 10 gallons in a mixer with 800 pounds of stucco circulating to put on 1/8 of an inch thick. Don't do it, guys. Anyway, let's see what this does, Jay, and I got a bunch of other crap we got to do, and we'll come back to this and take a look at it. All right, guys, back. Let me conclude this. Here's what we started off with, guys. See how dark that is? Well, cementitious finishes always dry lighter. This one is permanent. It didn't need a bonding agent. It sucked into this cementitious background. This one will come off because it doesn't have a bonding agent. This one here is permanent. These are all permanent right here because they have the bonding agent. Now this one, even though it's over a cementitious board, it was painted plus the Weld Crete. Now this looks like the Amazon River. If you go close, it looks like the Amazon. And then can you zoom in on this one? That looks like the Amazon River. When I come up with that, my wife just walked in the backyard. She says, oh, those look cool. Those look like the Amazon River. I said, baby, that's not what people want, though. Anyway, to get back on this, the Weld Crete is easily one of the strongest liquid bonding agents I've ever encountered. I know 30 licensed guys who all have 30 years, and they say the same thing. It's one of the strongest products. My thing is, I thought there's a chemical reaction also because it's so incredibly strong. This bonding agent, it's made to hold 1 inch of stucco to 1/2 inch on a house or a vertical wall. It can do it. So between the air coming on the outside and drying it out, and between the chemical composition of it, Old Kirk is an applicator, guys. I don't know much about electricity, but I know how to flick a switch and make the electricity come on or the lights come on. I don't know much about the engineering of this resin-based type of bonding agent, but I'm sure some of you guys do. Any of you folks have opinions of why this is, other than it is so incredibly strong? Let me know. And lastly, I'll just say that if I was Larson's or Weld Crete, I would not put in the description either as far as color coats. Why? Because if I tell somebody, or this is what I do, guys. Don't do what Kirk does, because I don't want anybody to call me and say, gee, I tried your method, it didn't work. That's not what this is about. If Larson's put dilute it, guess what? People would dilute it to nothing, or they wouldn't know the sealness of a wall. So you look at a wall and that wall is sealed. They wouldn't be able to determine how many coats the paint does that have on it to determine the right amount of Weld Crete. So that's something that's kind of off limits for Weld Crete, and it's off limits with me too. But because somebody said, they suggested I was trying to save money by diluting it, I thought, are you crazy? You don't save any money if you got to go back and redo a wall. That's like putting 5 to 1 with cement. We use 5 times the amount of sand to save money. You don't save any money if that wall falls down. You cost yourself a fortune. So I do not dilute this to save money. I dilute it because I know what I'm doing, and every job is different. So you guys do what's on the label, and most of you homeowners, you DIY guys, call a licensed plastering contractor if you're going to do a color coat, because this is just the tip of the iceberg on a color coat. There's so many different things that could blow a job. So anyway, guys, my name is Kirk. I'm with Kirk Giordano Plastering. My lovely wife, she's out here all the time. This is her garden that I'm messing up. This is.
Yep. And you didn't even mention that you spelt Weld Crete wrong there.
I spelt Weld Crete wrong, and she says,
Weed Crete.
What is Weed Crete? Anyway, my name is Kirk. My lovely wife, Jackie. Jason on the camera, we thank you for watching, and as usual, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Once again, folks, we thank you for watching, and I really enjoy all your comments.
If you guys like this video, please click the like button down below, and also if you enjoy what we do, subscribe to our channel so we can keep making these videos for you.
My name is Kirk.
And Jay.
We thank you for watching, and from the entire Giordano family, we'll see you on the next one.